When you talk Houston Texans, you cannot forget Peyton Manning. Even though he's an Indianapolis Colt, that's the opening game. And right now, all the talks, all the rumors are he won't be on the field opening day. If you're a Houston Texan fan, analyst, whatever you are, if you're pulling for the Texans, you have to be happy. But I have to make sure that the players and coaches don't feel like this is going to be a gimme because the best player of our time, the best quarterback of our time, isn't stepping on that field. It takes a lot more than one guy to defeat a team. And I think right now the Houston Texans realize that, and they're not going to overlook the Indianapolis Colts just because Peyton Manning might not be on that field.
Now, I wanted Peyton to play. They beat him last year, 34-24. Peyton played. In the 2 games last year, he threw for 701 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Are they primed for a letdown with Kerry Collins?
You know, anytime you're missing the best quarterback, I don't care who you are, I don't care how good the guys around you, you're going to have a letdown. I'm not predicting 3-13 for the Indianapolis Colts like some of these experts are, but they're not going to be as good without Peyton Manning as they are with him, regardless of who the backup is, unless it was a guy named Tom Brady. So with that being said, yes, they're going to have a step back, but I don't think they'll be as bad as people think because there's a reason why Kerry Collins played 16 years in the NFL. He has a big arm. He hasn't had a chance to throw to the likes of a Reggie Wayne, Pierre Garçon before in his career. So this is going to be an exciting time for Kerry Collins, but the Indianapolis Colts will be a weaker team.
Now remember, he's 3-2 for the Titans against the Texans. He averaged 28.6 points a game, but against Wade Phillips, he's 0-7 when Wade's a defensive coordinator. Now, let's talk about Steve Slaton. We don't know if Arian Foster's going to play. We do know that if he doesn't, Derek Ward and Ben Tate will get all the playing time. But what does it mean to keep Slaton?
Well, what it means is you have a great insurance policy. You want to go into a game with 3 viable running backs. Arian Foster is going to be a question mark for the beginning of the season. They're talking about the hamstrings, not that serious. But when you're a skill position player, when you're as fast as an Arian Foster and you have an issue with your hamstring, it's going to linger if you don't take care of it. So that is why I believe they kept Steve Slaton on the roster. And if they find out early on in this season that Arian Foster is 100% healthy and they don't need to keep 4 backs, then you use Steve Slaton to trade him away and get some value for him because teams around the league, they realize what Steve Slaton did as a rookie, having 1,200 yards from scrimmage, and the reason that he had his drop-off was because he had the issue with his neck and with his nerves in his fingers. All that's been cured according to doctors, according to Steve Slaton. If you need a scat back, a good change of back, I believe you will trade something away to get a Steve Slaton. So right now, they're using him and keeping him on the roster for insurance and for the chance to get some value in him once Arian Foster is 100%.
Even though he didn't carry in preseason, he averaged 4.9 yards a carry last season in the limited action he did get. Now, the move everybody's talking about is your protege. You've made him everything he is today, led the team in sacks the last 5 years. What do you think about Mario moving now that you watched him a little bit for 3 games? Can it work?
I think it can work just because he's a football player. He's a pass rusher. When you look at the 3-4 system and him being labeled as an outside linebacker, that's just name only. What he is, they should put a PR, and I'm not talking about punt returner, pass rusher. Mario Williams is a pass rusher. He's proven it. He's shown it in the past. Just because he's going to outside linebacker, I don't think it's going to affect his stats that much at the end of the day because you'll see many times they'll have 4 down linemen when they're in nickel, when they're in dime. Wade Phillips talks about he uses a hybrid 3-4 system. What I noticed during preseason, what I noticed during the practices that I went to, there were a lot of times when it was a passing down that they had 4 guys down with their hand in the dirt. That's what Mario likes to do. That's what he's comfortable at. And I feel like he's going to have a lot of opportunities to rush with his hand in the dirt.
People forget about he's going to rush with his hand in dirt like he has in the past. They think he's going to be up all the time. He'll be down opposite Connor Barwin with Antonio Smith and J.J. Watt in the middle. That's a pretty formidable foursome when it comes to the pass rush.
When you talk about Antonio Smith, this is a guy who I believe is underrated. He gets overlooked, but he will work from the 3 technique, 5 technique, even from the 0 technique. It doesn't matter where you put Antonio Smith. He's going to give you push. And with the guys that you named, Mario Williams on one side, Connor Barwin on the other, J.J. Watt, the fabulous rookie, and Antonio Smith on the inside, those are 4 guys that know how to get after the passer, and it's just going to be exciting to see them rush. It's going to be exciting to see how aggressive they're going to get upfield. And I don't think Mario's stats are going to drop off. I do believe there's going to be a learning curve because a lot of the time he is going to be rushing on 1st and 2nd down from a 2-point stance, and that is difficult to learn. I believe it takes about a year of playing to really get comfortable rushing from a 2-point stance, but he will have ample opportunity to rush from a 3-point stance, and he will still have 10 or more sacks this year.
Let me ask you one more thing before we go to our first break. the mentality of this team, do you see it changing, and how important is that to changing? What do they got to do to keep from blowing games at the end like they did last season?
I'll tell you what, I see the confidence, and I see the confidence in Wade Phillips from the players. When I talk to these guys that I know off record, of course, then I ask them how do they feel about Peyton Manning not playing. All of their attitudes are, we don't care. It doesn't matter who you put out there. We need to beat the best to be the best. All the cliches, they're saying it, but they're believing it. And I believe that's coming from Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips, he's not in awe of Peyton Manning. You know, he's had defenses go against Joe Montana, go against Steve Young. He's gone against the best. He's seen the best at practice in Jim Kelly. So when you see that confidence from your defensive coordinator and the experience, it trickles down to the players. And that's why when I ask them about Peyton Manning not playing, what's their take on it, and they say it doesn't matter, I believe that comes from Wade Phillips, and you just see the confidence and the swag that everybody talks about.